What are the odds of two low-budget horror movies, both with the same name, both coming out in 2020, and both with the same synopsis? People sitting around and telling each other scary stories. Apparently pretty good. Welcome to Happywax TV. So I had this movie sent to me, and I've also had a few of you message me and ask me if I was going to do a review on it. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know this movie was coming out, but when I did a little bit of research, I realized that there was two movies of the same name coming out this year, and they're both almost the same synopsis. So we are talking about this movie called Scare Me. We are not talking about this movie. So just so you're not confused. Okay, but what are the odds of that? I mean, same name, same year, both low-budget horror movies, and they both revolve around people telling scary stories to each other. I mean, it's crazy stuff going on here in 2020, I tell you. But anyways, we're talking about this one tonight. So anyways, quick synopsis. A group of new friends go camping on their last night, traveling together to a music festival. They wager a free weekend pass to the winner of a ghost story contest. So basically that's it. They go camping and then they're sitting around the campfire, and whoever tells the scariest ghost story wins these passes. And you know, when I read that, I thought, okay, all right, game on, because I love anthology movies or short films, and I thought this movie, you know, this is what this movie is going to be revolving around, is these short films. But I'll tell you something, with almost every style of this movie, or this style of movie, sorry, there's like the main story, okay? And then the short stories in the story get spawned off of the main story, if that makes sense. So the main story here is called Millennial Massacre, all right? And that revolves around these campfire kids and the park rangers that come and the strangeness that goes on throughout that entire story. But I'm just, you know, I'm going to get to some good and I'm going to get to some bad. But I'm telling you right now, straight off the hop, this fucking story, this Millennial Massacre, is way too fucking long. This movie in its entirety is 1 hour and 47 minutes. And God honestly, with the short films included, this movie should have been no longer, like they could have easily trimmed half an hour off this. Like, wow. Like I'm telling you, man, like you are going to lose. And I'm talking directly to the director, Mark Stevens and Thomas Fisco, who was one of the writers. There's two writers, Thomas Fisco and Mark Stevens. I'm telling you, you are going to lose the majority of your audience in the first 20 minutes to half an hour of this film. Like it just drags on and on and on. And the bad thing about this movie too, not only the fact that it drags on so long before anything even fucking happens, is, and I get it, it's low budget, you know what I mean, and I respect that. But the problem is they're just trying to make this into this grand story when it should just be quick little excerpts from this Millennial Massacre story and then get to the short stories. But instead, like, they drag the first and second act out so fucking long. People aren't going to stay tuned into this. Like, they really aren't. Like, there might be some people, I'm not speaking for everyone, but man, oh man, the first two acts of this movie are a snooze fest. And I'm not, if you think I'm over exaggerating, like I always say, please rent this movie and give it a watch. But God damn, man, they could have edited, like, again, I've said this before, fly me in and edit your movie. I would have trimmed easily 30 minutes off of this movie to keep the pacing going. Like, it was just there's dialogue in this movie that not only goes nowhere, but it makes no fucking sense to anything that's going on. And it's like, I'm all for like, you know, learning about these characters and, you know, getting a little background and stuff like that. But my God, like, it's just not good at all. Okay, but anyways, that aside, okay, the short stories themselves are pretty good. There's an eye for an eye, which starts off this movie and really doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't get that one. It was kind of cool. It had some good practical gore in it, but I didn't understand that one. The other ones were The Real Watchdog, which was kind of a werewolf movie, but Again, with this one and another one called Demonic Presence, it's like they took these stories and kind of changed them a little bit because it's like they ripped them off from another short story. Like what I'm saying is the real Watchdog is more or less a ripoff, and I don't know what it's called, but it's that vampire short film where the girlfriend is in bed and she thinks her boyfriend's sleeping beside her, his back's turned to her, and then she wakes up in the middle of the night because the phone rings and it's her boyfriend saying he'll be home a little bit later, and then it pans down to the face of the vampire thing that's sleeping in the bed beside her, and that's the end of that one. Well, that's what this werewolf story is blatantly taken from. And then the other one, Demonic Presence, is the one where the little kid is getting tucked in at night. In fact, I think the original short film was called Tuck Me In, I think. But anyways, it's the one where the kid goes, "Can you check under the bed?" And then when he checks under the bed, the actual kid's down there, and then he looks up and there's like a demon creature on top of the bed. Only this one takes place, instead of under the bed, they kind of fool you and they go into the closet. So they've taken other short stories and kind of added to them. I don't think, and I didn't see anywhere in the end credits where they gave any of those original storytellers credit. So I don't know why they didn't do that, unless they thought that we as an audience didn't see these other short films. So I don't know. I recognize those two right off the hop. But the other ones were Unnatural Born Killers, which I thought was pretty cool. And then Eternal Hunger, which was a good one too. So, but I just, again, back to this main, this main story, this millennial massacre. It's way too fucking long. Like, and even the ending to it, like, it's nonsense. It really is. This movie should have focused more around more short stories, and then just, maybe have a couple more short stories in there. Because that's why I sat down to watch this film, was for the short films, and there weren't enough of them in there. And I don't know. And then just these kids, that were sitting around the campfire and stuff, and like, they're just annoying. And then when this park ranger comes in, like, it's just, I don't understand how these characters were written. Like, and I'm sick and tired of this. They're supposed to be friends, but all they do is squabble back and forth. You've got the asshole boyfriend in the one group, and then you've got the other guy and his girlfriend, and he's like all being sketchy. And then you've got like the video game nerdy guy. I get it. Do you know what I mean? But it's cliche. It's in every fucking movie of this nature. And I don't know if they tried to do that on purpose. But there was dialogue in this movie that made no fucking sense. And when these park rangers come in, I mean, yeah, it gets explained at the end. But it takes so fucking long to get there. Like, this movie does not need to be an hour and 50 minutes or an hour and 47 minutes. Like, God, honestly, an hour 20 max with the short films included. Like, wow, it just totally took me out of it. And it's bad because that story was not a very good written story. Okay, the other short stories were good, but this one was not a good. And I've said this before, if you have a low budget horror film, which I fucking love, which I revolve this channel around, but if you don't have a good story to go with it, whether it's low budget or big budget, it's going to ruin it. And this story that kind of glues all these is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just it could have been maybe better if the story itself was, again, shorter to keep the pacing going. But goddamn, man, like, you're going to lose half your audience in the first two acts. They won't even get past the first act, just because it drags on so long. And the conversations, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this movie was trying to be funny, but even the humor missed the mark. Like, I didn't find this, there was maybe a couple jokes that I thought were funny, but for the most part, I don't know, man. This was kind of a disappointment for me. To give it a rating, out of 10, I'd probably give it a 3. Again, there were some good short films in here, but again, they were clearly rip-offs of other short films that you can find on YouTube. So, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they gave them any credit for those short films in the end credits. So if I'm wrong, correct me, okay, but I don't think they did. So, but yeah, it's just a shame because, I mean, the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 short stories are pretty good, except for Eye for an Eye. I don't know what the fuck that one was about. But anyways, actually, I'll be honest with you. I'll be God honest with you. When I saw the opening one, Eye for an Eye, it reminded me so much of a scene from the movie Veronica from Glenn Danzig. And I honestly, I said to myself, like, please don't let this movie be that fucking movie, like that fucking terrible. And it wasn't, okay? Like Veronica honestly is a fucking 0 when it comes to a movie. This, I have to give it a 3. This movie a 3, but it was way too fucking long. So it's a shame, really. But anyways, if you guys have seen this movie, again, chime in and let me know what you think about it, please. Am I over-exaggerating? Because I don't fucking think I am. And if you haven't seen it, go rent it and then come back and let me know what you thought of it, because I'm curious. I mean, was it just me? Did I just not take to this movie? I don't know. Like, let me know. I know I'm going to get in trouble by one person who actually recommended it to me because I think they liked it. So, but goddamn, man, like I probably would have liked this if it was shorter. Again, I've said this 1,000 times already. It doesn't need to be this fucking long. It just took me right out of it because the pacing is fucking terrible. So anyways, it's called Scare Me. It's out now. Again, don't get them confused. There's 2 movies out the same name. We're talking about this one, not that one. And yeah, guys, until next time, stay scared.